Hey everybody, I hope you guys are safe and healthy. So today I have an unboxing of the iPad Pro 2020 and Apple's new Smart Keyboard Folio and the Magic Trackpad, because one of the biggest features of the new iPad Pro, well, it's a software feature, so it will be going to older iPads too. It's full trackpad support. So Apple's trying to make the iPad Pro more and more like a computer. Now I gotta say, this keyboard case is not that really nice and really expensive one that elevates the iPad Pro up a little bit to make it more like a real computer. That case won't be ready until May. I'm a little bit disappointed because to me, that is the coolest thing about the new iPad. This is just a traditional keyboard folio case, probably exactly the same as the one on the iPad Pro 2018. Now, I've made a video on the iPad Pro 2018 before. This is basically by far, by 100 miles, the best tablet available. I know people are going to say, oh, you can get a Samsung Galaxy Tab or Huawei Mate Pad or whatever for cheaper, but trust me, in terms of tablet, iPad Pros are just so much better than everyone else in terms of power, design, and just software fluidity. And I'm not usually an Apple guy. I prefer to use Android when it comes to smartphones, but I used the iPad Pro 2018 as my main work computer for almost a year before I recently switched to the MacBook because I was using Final Cut Pro to edit videos. But if I'm not editing videos, this machine alone can handle all my work in terms of writing articles, sending emails, going on video conferencing calls. So anyway, without further ado, let's start with the unboxing. We'll start with the iPad. Now, I already know that the iPad Pro 2020 is not a huge upgrade over the iPad Pro 2018. Overall design is going to be the same, with the big difference coming in the camera module because it houses a wide-angle camera this year and a radar camera for AR use. But otherwise, the chip is a little bit more powerful than what's on the iPad Pro 2018 too, but it's not going to be a huge bump if you're coming from the iPad Pro 2018. But if you're coming from an older iPad Pro, like the original version with the bezels, or just an iPad in general, this is going to be a huge upgrade. So Apple's in an interesting spot because it's been trying to convince you that an iPad is all you need. You don't really need a computer anymore. But at the same time, they still sell computers. So I feel like the two teams are probably kind of at odds in terms of the MacBook team and the iPad team. So I like this matte space gray aluminum finish. I wish smartphones would go back to this finish. I really don't like how Samsung phones and Huawei phones, when you hold it for like a minute, the back gets all nasty and mushy and fingerprints. Like, I want my phone to have this back again. I mean, I'll give up wireless charging. So the camera right here, you have a main 12 megapixel camera and then a wide angle camera, also 12 megapixel. And right here is that radar. Apple calls it LiDAR camera that will help you do like much better AR applications. Now, depending on who you are, you might not use AR at all. I don't use AR much, but I have to admit AR is very useful to a lot of people. You can test out furniture, see how they fit in your living room, and just measure stuff if you need to, if you're renovating your house. So there's a lot of use for the radar camera. So you have some papers right here, and then right here is a charging brick, Hong Kong UK charging brick, and a Type-C to Type-C cable, and that is it. So the iPad unboxing experience is very similar. Okay, let me take out my iPad Pro 2018 and compare it with the iPad Pro 2020. So in terms of footprint, they are exactly the same. Like in terms of height and width and even thickness, exactly the same. The only difference is the camera module, I mean. Now, having a wide angle camera on the iPad is a little bit weird in my opinion, because what am I gonna do? Take an iPad out and take pictures of buildings? But hey, I guess it's better to have it than not have it. So next up, let's unbox the keyboard. So another reason I love the iPad Pro so much is because the keyboard case actually has a better keyboard than most MacBooks on the market right now. That stupid butterfly keyboard that Apple tried to use, that was terrible. these keys actually have travel and they give me good tactile feedback. So keyboard case connects to the back of the iPad via 3 pogo pins. It's very easy. You just have to snap it on and it works immediately. No need to charge, no need for anything. You have more papers. So that is it. It's a pretty bare bones unboxing experience. Let's unbox the Magic Trackpad. So this, you'll need this to use the iPad Pro right now, but when that new keyboard comes out with the trackpad, then this will become redundant. Then you won't need this at all. This is very dense and pretty, I wouldn't say heavy, but it's very well constructed. It doesn't feel like a cheap, like a TV remote, like it's all hollow inside, and you have a lightning cable. So Apple, please make up your damn mind. Some of your things now use USB-C, some others use lightning. Let us charge everything with one cable. Okay, so I'm gonna set up my iPad Pro 2020 and I'll come back with a quick hands-on. Alright guys, so I set up the iPad Pro 2020. So the setup process was really easy. All I had to do is bring my old iPad next to the new iPad and it automatically detected and then started transferring data. It took about 10-15 minutes. So like I said, I'm not an Apple fanboy by any means. I still love Android and the Google ecosystem, but there are some things Apple do that are just pretty cool, pretty well done. Anyway, so I've set up the trackpad to work with the iPad Pro now. So this is my first time using the iPad Pro like a laptop with a cursor support. So there are the gestures that you might be used to from using previous laptops and MacBooks. So 2 fingers to swipe between the screens. So this is a 120 Hertz refresh rate display and it's just a beautiful display. Battery life on this is excellent too, like all day. And this is a 120 Hertz display too, so it's absolutely beautiful, it's gorgeous, and I believe you swipe up with 3 fingers to go home, and the cursor kind of behaves a little bit differently in that it snaps into a link or an image whenever you need a button. Now as for the camera, as I mentioned, it has been improved. This is not quite iPhone 11 Pro level, but it's definitely probably by like 10 miles, 100 miles the best camera on a tablet. So you see, it's kind of weird having a wide angle camera on a tablet, but yet here we are. So the other big upgrade to the iPad Pro is that radar camera. So we'll open up this AR app right here, this measure app, and you get to see in action. So you notice that the radar, because it's sensing, it's a depth sensor, so it can tell the surface of this desk right now. And if I move it over, you see it can actually tell that now it's pointing at something vertical, something horizontal, and now it's pointing at a wall, and then now it's moving down to the floor. So you see, this is pretty legit, like it's actually detecting the surface on which the camera is pointing. So the new iPad Pro starts at $999, although that's only for 128 gigs of storage, so most people probably will need something a little bit higher. So you're looking at about $1,200, $1,300 for this new iPad Pro, but that's just for the standard iPad. If you want to buy a keyboard, an Apple Pencil, and a trackpad, it's going to cost you another $200-300. But for those who can afford it, this is probably the best combo machine. It's a machine that can work as a computer now. You can almost use it like a laptop. You also have the best set of mobile games available because it's the same games as on the iPad or the iPhone. And then on top of that, it's for creators, because the Apple Pencil, it's probably the best commercial stylus on the market right now. So if you're an artist or graphic designer, this is the best all-in-one device around. So anyway, that's it for this unboxing and first look at the iPad Pro 2020. I will be using this heavily as my daily driver, and I'll be back with a review. And pretty soon I'm going to have a video on the Huawei P40 Pro too. So if you're interested in keeping up with all the newest tech, please subscribe to my channel or follow me on Instagram. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy, everybody.